Hi there, it's me, Shannon. I'm here today to create an alternative with our brand new July Paper Pumpkin Kit. I'm going to make a clear card variation on the card sample from the kit's instructions. So let's get started. I'm going to begin by taking this particular postcard from the kit. It's got the lighter blue at the bottom and then the darker sky with the stars at the top. And what I'm going to do is, instead of using just the Blackberry Bliss ink on the cardstock with the starburst or fireworks looking image, I'm going to use Versamark and then heat emboss those images with gold embossing powder. So I've got my Versamark ink. I'm just going to ink up and probably do about four, sorry, it's probably bouncing there, four starburst images. So I'm going to do one sort of down here, almost off the end of the card. Ink up again, and I'm only holding it so that I don't jiggle the table. Normally I wouldn't hold it in my hand. Get the firework burst all inked up. And then we'll do another one. I can just barely see the outline there. I'm going to put one here. Just pressing firmly so that the ink has time to soak into the card front. Then I'll do one more, more toward the top this time. I kind of like it when they look like they're sort of going off the top a little. On there. And then one more up here in this area. Remember, the lanterns are going to be going across that night sky as well. So there will be plenty of interest going on in this card. So I've got one here, I've got one here, so I'm going about right there. That's where my fourth starburst image will be. And that's kind of a weird name. You're not really sure what to call it. Fireworks? All right, there we go. I've got those images there. And now I'm going to put some gold embossing powder on the ink and then heat set it. Okay, there we go. Aren't those beautiful? That's gold metallic looking embossing powder. Lights up the sky. All right, so there we go. We've got this, this part of our card ready to go. I want to show you a couple things. So here is the clear top fold card base that I'm using. Our window sheets work well for this. I like the top fold card base. You guys know that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this postcard that's been embossed onto the inside of the card base. And then I'm going to build, everything else will happen up on the front clear cover. Okay, so that will include one of the tags that I punched out. It's this shape right here. Just like the sample in the instructions show, it will go here. And then these 5 lanterns will be strung with the Night of Navy twine up along this front here. Now, when I open the card, I'd like a space for me to do a little note to the card's recipient. So instead of having to write on the beautiful embossed card, I am going to add another similarly cut tag. And I wanted to show you this in case you have this stamp set at home. So this particular tag is from the kit's supplies. Now I die cut another tag using one of the labels from the Tasteful Labels die set. And in my opinion, I think it's pretty darn close to the tag that you get inside the kit. So there's a source of a lot more tags in this particular shape that you could use for this kit. All right, so I'm going to set that aside and continue to build on this card. So I think what I'll do is I'll just use regular adhesive, a tape runner, for the back here. I'm going to use something like Stampin' Seal. Now, I have to admit that the postcard is a little warped, a little bit, not much, but a little bit from the heat tool while I was embossing. So I'm going to try to be careful when I lay it down onto the inside of the card base to sort of make sure that it kind of lays as flat as possible. So again, I just eyeball and make sure that I kind of have the same amount of open space on all the sides when I place this down. And I am going to go out of my way to make sure that I get it as flat as possible. So I'm sort of like contact paper, right? I'm just putting it down as I go, hoping for the best, and that looks really, really good. That looks really, really good, nice and flat. So again, I'm going to shut the card here. So this is the card front, and I'm going to put my sentiment here on the front, and then we'll build those lanterns, all right? So let's get the sentiment onto the tag. I'm going to use this really cute, I love the fonts and I love the sayings on this sentiment. It says, "Oh, the summer nights are alight with everything magic and bright." I think that's really cute. So I'm going to use my stamp positioner because my Starburst is dirty on there. And I'm going to use the Blackberry Bliss ink because I think that's just beautiful. I really, really like it. Now it is a pretty juicy ink. It's pretty dark. So you might want to consider while you're stamping, this is just a tip for you, when you're using it, you might want to consider stamping it off. Like, ink it up, lightly stamp off on a piece of scrap paper, and then stamp on your tag or your object. So I'm going to line up let me see, I'm going to move this over here so I'm sure you can see it. So I have my tag in the stamp positioner. I've got the pad in there because this is a clear stamp. I'm lining it up here in the middle of my tag, and I see that I'm going to have to move my magnet a little. All right, I'm just eyeballing it. It's fun. It's nice that the words are not like all perfectly straight because it gives you a little forgiveness if you weren't exactly straight with your laying your image down there. Okay, so I'm going to close the door, grab my stamp, and it'll pop that label up, but that's okay because we know exactly where it goes, right down here. In this bottom corner, that's where I started out with. All right, so I already have my larger Blackberry Bliss ink pad, and I kind of like to hoard the little stamping spots for littler projects, okay? So I'm going to use my regular size and put it on, close the door, and then it will stamp onto the tag. All right, there we go. Just kind of, like I said, I've just hold it down long enough for the ink to absorb into the cardstock. And there you go. Beautiful. All right. So I'm going to set this aside. I normally clean my stamps, but we're going to hold off on that. So here's the tag. Here's the card front. And let's go ahead and adhere the sentiment down here. And I'm not sure how the reflection is going on this card. I hope it's not too bad. I'm going to put it right about here. And I think I will lay it flat onto the card. And then we'll build our lantern, string of lanterns up here. All right, so again, I believe I should use the tape runner, flat to flat. I think it should work just fine. Right down here. Kind of want to make sure that my two fireworks here are showing. Just kind of line it up as best I can. There we go. All right, so for the lanterns here, I've got one of each color, so there are 5 of them. And here is the Night of Navy twine. It's a soft cotton, like a baker's twine. What I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to tie a little knot in the end here, just so it kind of gives it the impression of it being the end of something. I'm going to lay them out a little bit first before I cut the twine off. Okay, so I'm going to lay just kind of, should be plenty. So then I'm going to go ahead and cut the cut the thread here and tie another knot. Now I'm thinking to myself now as I tie the knot, I may need to adjust and trim off the ribbon or the thread later on, but that's okay. We're gonna start with this. All right. Okay, and so I think what I want to do is I will at the end I'm going to put a little tiny glue dot right there and hold the knot, that knot down there, and then go ahead and anchor the rest of the lanterns down. Okay? So I think I'll use dimensionals here. The kit does come with mini dimensionals. So you have everything you need to build cards when you get that paper pumpkin kit. It is really cool. So I'm going to place a dimensional on the back of all of my lanterns, but I'm not pulling off the release tape yet because I want to do a little more arranging. And maybe it will be a better idea to anchor that down now. I'm going to take a glue dot, and you know, I'm going to bet that that is too big for that tiny knot, so I'm going to pick it up on my finger, but I'm rolling it as I pick it up, so it becomes much smaller, and I'm sitting here showing you. It's so tiny. I'm just going to like rub it around and make it a teeny tiny little glue dot, and I'm going to put it on the back side of the knot here at the end of the thread. And even that's pretty big, but if I squish it, maybe we'll sort of, I know my hands are in your way, I'll show you in just a moment. So I'm anchoring it here. There we go. And then we can start our, well, maybe I'm not. Maybe I want to anchor it a little further down. Ha-ha. Good thing it's just adhesive there. All right, so we go here. Let's just get started. I think we better just get started placing these down, and then I think I can get a better angle on things when I use my tweezers. So I'm gonna look for straight-ish. Lay that down here. And I'm going to take this next guy. I haven't taken the release tape off of him yet. I'm going to put it. All right. Now, I see that when I pull over here, it's pulling down on this thread here, and I want to make sure that this stays up so that it, you know, the appearance of a row of lanterns is kept. So again, I think I'm going to take another glue dot and do the same idea. I'm going to grab it, roll it into a little ball, and tuck it on the back of this lantern handle so that it holds the thread to the back of the lantern handle. Give it a little pinch there. All right. All right. Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to make this a little top. There we go. And then again, I'm going to cut some of this off, so I'm going to tie a knot a little further up. Right about there. Trim that off. And again, bring in another trusty glue dot. Oops, which way do I go? Here we go. And again, let's just roll it up. And then we'll anchor this knot, the end of our lantern rope, so to speak, to the card front. Okay, give it a little pinch. And I'm just going to bring it down. It's right along here. There we go. There we go. So the ends kind of are kind of cool. They make it look like there's motion, there's wind blowing, or a little breeze, I should say. There we go. That feels better. Okay, so we've got our sentiment, our row of lanterns, and then, like I said, when we open the card, there is the gold shiny fireworks, but I want to have space for a sentiment. So I die cut that extra tag, and I'm going to place it right down here. Now I don't want it to show through the front of the card, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a tiny little bit right here of removable adhesive. I just have this in my stash. It's a little, oops, excuse me, a little blue dot here. I mean, that's all I'm putting on there. And then I'm going to place this tag onto the back of the one here. And you see it is practically a perfect fit. And then just tap. And then I'm going to put some regular adhesive, my regular Stampin' Seal type adhesive, on the back side of that tag. And then when I close the front, and I want to make sure everything's lined up, give it a little rub there, and then open it up, and there you go. And now all I need to do is just rub my finger on the front of that tag, and the adhesive is off the front. So there you go. There is a clear card, and if you gotta kind of give it a little crease again. You've got the lanterns on the front, the sentiment on the front, and then when you open it up, whoosh, you've got all of the nice fireworks inside and a place to leave your note. So there you go. That's my take on an alternative of the July 2020 Paper Pumpkin Kit, using this as my inspiration. Thanks for joining me. Hey, I just wanted to stop by for one more second and show you a little extra touch I put on. You know, we got these awesome puffy epoxy or enamel stars, gold stars, and I just thought they would be very cool. So I added 3 of them. I put one on the outside of the card, and then, even though it shows through, I put the other 2 on the inside of the card. So there you go. Again, here's the place where I'm going to put my little note, and here's the front of the card.